The spotlight appears to have shifted from fiscal headroom to political capital here in the United Kingdom, as outlets report this morning that Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer and his Chancellor of the Exchequer Rachel Reeves have ditched manifesto-breaking plans. If you ditch the manifesto-breaking plans to hike income tax, you get back to where you started, potentially. One of the most significant U-turns in recent memory. Let's take a look at where the gilt yields are currently trading, and it is the longer end which is seeing the biggest incline, as you would expect as well. 1.4% higher for the 10-year paper. 4.5% is the yield. Let's have a look at other UK assets. We talked about the pound. Well, the pound's actually been on the back foot a little bit for the last few days as well. I mean, 134 was the high of the last month or so. We're now down to 131.67. FTSE 100, 97.10. It is down 1%, but I don't think it's too far away from the declines we're seeing in other global equities. In fact, for the week, the FTSE 100 is still just a tad in positive territory. Whittaker has the wonderful job of trying to understand what is going on at the Treasury. Good luck, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I'm going to need it. I think we do have to coin it the O-turn now, I think, like you said. Now, the Financial Times says the decision to rip up the tax plans was communicated to the Office for Budget Responsibility on Wednesday, barely 2 weeks before Budget Day, and only a week after Reeves reportedly floated the idea of income tax hikes with them in the first place. We remember that unscheduled speech of last week. CNBC has reached out to the Treasury for comment. Now questions remain on how the Chancellor will fill a fiscal hole that Deutsche Bank analysts reckon could top £30 billion. One option is to reduce the threshold at which employees start paying the higher rate of income tax while leaving the rates unchanged, potentially raising billions of pounds. One taxpayer in 5 is already set to cross that threshold by the end of next year, according to the IFS. Reeves was reportedly seen leaving Downing Street with the word threshold visible in her diary. Now, whichever way the Chancellor decides to fill her fiscal headroom, these latest reports mark a dramatic end to what has certainly been a turbulent week on Downing Street. And the countdown to the budget has dominated conversations over here at CNBC in recent weeks. Take a listen.
We can be reasonably confident now, largely because the Chancellor has said it, which is going to be a productivity downgrade from the independent fiscal watchdog, the Office for Budget Responsibility. The hit is likely to be somewhere around £20 billion.
The concern is unemployment has continued to go up, now at 5%, which is a high post-pandemic, and that's a direction of travel that we were expecting. But there is a sort of chink that I saw in the data that encouraged me, in that the number of vacancies has stopped falling. You might remember I was concerned that we'd had 39 consecutive periods of declining job vacancies. They actually rose by 0.2% in this period.
If we think about all the foundational things that you need for to be optimistic, a government talking about growth, a strong regulatory backdrop, you've got some real changes in regulation, certainly for us on things like targeted support, which will help our business, Solvency UK, which will help our business, all of these, and then, investment in infrastructure, which we obviously invest in. All of these should be things which should come together and produce a good outcome. That vision of what all of that together means for the economy, means for you, us as consumers, us as businesses, that's not there at the moment.
So you could hear there a lot of uncertainty about the several policies, ideas that have been floated around. What is the black fiscal hole that Rachel Reeves is facing? If we take a look at the market reaction this morning, you're seeing the 10-year yield just up about 5 basis points at the moment, trading below that 4.5% level, but we were as high on those yields at 10, 11 basis points earlier this morning. So we are seeing some movement there. Is the fear now in the bond market that perhaps the political futures for Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer look more uncertain? Does that mean we get somebody more leftist eventually coming in? I mean, those are questions that could be circulating right now. And again, even if we look at the stock market, seeing the FTSE 250, the FTSE 350 getting hit a little bit more, of course, with that exposure to more UK domestic focus stocks. Steve, Juliana.
Whittaker, we've got a problem, you and I. Our producers are playing with our heads.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because you've got producer Jordan on one side telling me a U-turn of a U-turn is an O-turn.
Yeah.
You and I have gone with it, yeah?
Yeah.
Senior producer John, he's come up with a W-turn. And I can, trouble is, I know.
That's an interesting one. I quite like that.
You and they're mucking around with my head. Why do they do this to me on a Friday? Why didn't they do it when I'm fresh on a Monday?
Oh, I like that W. Might have to go with that.
You want to go with the W? We were going with the O. You came, you followed me. You went with the O 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, I've done my own U-turn here from U to W.